We're here at Silverstone for the first round of the Dunlop Radical UK Cup and the Shell Racing Solution Radical Masters. It's a whole weekend's worth of racing, and we're going to be up here in the paddock chatting to the drivers, finding out all of the info, and of course down in the pit lanes for all of the action during the racing and the driver changeovers. It promises to be a very exciting weekend. Alex, you've been driving in GP3 so far. What was your reason for coming through to Radical?
Well, just a bit of fun, really, if I'm honest. I did the race here 2 years ago in Radical and enjoyed it a lot. So, yeah, just figured it'd be a good way to do some racing before the GP3 racing starts, just to get in qualifying and racing mode, just to blow the cobwebs out.
And get a bit of practice in. And I've heard that you live quite near to where Radical's based, is that right?
Yeah, I live, I don't know how many miles, but 10 miles, something like that. It's only down the road, really, so it's pretty convenient.
Okay, and how does it compare racing in your Radical car to racing in the GP3 cars?
Surprisingly, it's actually quite similar. Not a massive weight difference. I don't know, the Radical's only 100 kilos heavier or so. Got more power, but driving style-wise, it's pretty damn similar to a GP3 car. So it's actually, despite it looking quite different to a single-seater, in terms of driving techniques, it's very, very similar.
Hi Rachel, how are you today?
Fine, thank you.
Good, and you're racing with your boyfriend Alex, who I just had a quick chat with. How are you feeling about that today? He's a GP3 driver, so he's obviously got quite a lot of experience.
Yeah, it's kind of precious to live up to, but well, whatever.
And he was saying earlier that you've actually raced for Radical before.
Yes, I did the Club Cup last year and the year before, and yeah, it's alright.
And how did you get on last year?
Third overall and second in the SR3s last year.
Oh wow, that's really good placing.
Yeah, it was good fun.
Excellent. And he was saying also that you aren't allowed to beat him time-wise. Is this true?
If I can, I will. However, he's a bit handy, unfortunately, so I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, excellent stuff. And how are you feeling about qualifying? Have you been out on the Silverstone track before, the new track?
I've done 15 laps in the car and around here, so pretty nervous, but be good fun at least.
Well, it's not quite a Radical, but I have managed to find my own form of transport out to the media centre. The drivers are just up there heading into the driver briefing, and we're going to try and grab a few more of them for a quick chat before qualifying. Alex, you run RPM Racing and you've brought it back to Radical. Can you tell me about the journey that it's taken you on?
Yeah, no, it's been great coming back to Radical. Predominantly we do a lot of GT racing with, in the past, the Vipers and the Porsches, and at the moment the Ford GT. It was just great to come back. We've been away for 2 years. We won the championship 5 times before, so it was, a logical step to bring the guys back.
Absolutely. And what are your hopes for this season?
Well, I mean, ironically, I'm actually driving for another team at the moment called Aurelian with an SR8. From my standpoint, I just want to, get as many race wins as we can. We have this weekend Clint Bardwell and Marco Pullen. Again, Marco's a GT driver from GT Cup. Really, really good effort so far, and Clint's been very fast as well. So a good pairing. And then we've got Alexander Sims's brother and father racing. So hopefully should be a good solid pairing. It's their first race ever. So they're just looking for finish, and if they get some points, fantastic.
Well, he's got his whole family out there, hasn't he? Because he's racing with his girlfriend. He's got his father and his brother out. Amazing.
Family affair for them. So hopefully they'll have a great weekend.
It certainly is. And how does it differ racing in Radical to other cups that you've raced in?
Well, it's a different sort of thing. The cars are very different. I'm having to get my head into having the downforce, which it's not as prolific in the GT cars. But they're great fun. They're really fast, it's entertaining having 50 cars on the grid.
Roger, I haven't seen you since Abu Dhabi. How are you?
A lot colder than I was there. It was very warm, wasn't it? But a lot more relaxed and chilled out, thank you very much.
Excellent. Well, we've got fairly good weather today, though, so good conditions for qualifying.
Yeah, but the trouble is I left my shorts back in the hotel. I wonder if just after the interview, can you just whiz back and get them?
No problem. The Hawaiian ones, yeah?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no worries. How's the car running this year?
Car's spectacular. We've got a new car for this season. Radicals have gone all out, and we've got everything's brand new, looks immaculate, and in testing yesterday it was fab, so there are no excuses from the car.
And what are we going for today in qualifying?
We're going to go really, really quickly. There's no options on this, but unfortunately you know, it's like anything else. Time behind the seat, time behind the wheel is what you need, and I've had lots of that yesterday. I could do a little bit more, and so perhaps towards the end of qualifying, I'm looking to put my good lap in. So you know, it'll come, I think.
And you've changed your co-driver from last year, is that correct?
Well, the co-driver in the European rounds was Christian Droop, the very wonderful Christian Droop. But the European this time I'm going to be with Sean, who is my UK partner. So that's good news because Sean's a great guy, and you know, Christian's got other things to do at the moment. So
yeah, busy guy. And are you racing in both series?
I certainly hope so. Yes. Yeah. How lucky are we? I mean, seriously, Imola and you know all these outrageous places again. It's just craziness.
So a busy year ahead. Do you have any worries with any of the new drivers that have come in terms of competition?
No, they're all rubbish. You know, it's fortunate there's like people like Alex Sims and Ben Bailey. You know, there's just no. I don't have to worry about any of them. So.
Benjamin Bailey didn't do very well in Abu Dhabi, did he?
No, I think he was. Didn't he go off? Wouldn't he put it at the back? Yeah.
First round or something like that.
No, I don't know. Anyway, whatever. No.
He didn't really. He won.
There are some serious people out there. Some serious people. So yeah, I think the competition's going to be much stiffer, and therefore I've got to find some little bit of extra time here and there, and that's going to be quite a tall order, you know, at my age.
Well, at your age, please. We're going to let you get on with qualifying, but hopefully we can speak to you again afterwards and tomorrow for the first race.
I look forward to it. Thanks.
Thanks, Roger. Thank you. There are 50 Radical cars lined up behind me here at the start of qualifying. We've got some brand new SR8s with a 2.7 litre engine, the SR8 RX, which are the new cars from that class, and we'll hopefully see some really speedy racing with those, but let them get on with qualifying. Roger, that's a really hectic driver changeover. Can you explain what's going on now?
Yeah, what we're trying to do is exactly what we did that time, which is to be out first for the next qualifying session because there's so much clear space to be had. I mean, I don't think many other people have clear laps, and I suspect that's why I'm quite high up because people are getting balked all over the place. So we want to be at the front when that green flag goes.
And we just saw you pick something from under the car. What was that?
A piece of kit that drops it down the floor again. It's cool. No problem.
Okay, that's good. How was your time-wise?
Yeah, all right. Need to find another second and a half out of that easily.
Okay, cool. Well, good luck for the rest of it. So you've just been out for qualifying. How did it go?
A lot better than yesterday. I mean, yesterday I did 15 laps the whole day, so yeah, more time I spend in it, I feel happier.
Okay, and how was your time?
2:04, I think, which is 4 seconds quicker than I did yesterday. So, you know, but I know I can go faster than that as well. I just need more time in it. So.
Well, that's brilliant if you went 4 seconds faster. And have there been any problems with the car? We saw quite a lot of cars come in fairly early. Did you have any problems?
No, I wouldn't know what it feels like if there was something wrong with it anyway. So just keep going for it.
Excellent stuff. And do you know how Alex is doing out there?
I imagine he'll probably be pole, you know, he was like 158 or something yesterday, so yeah, he's a bit quick.
He's beaten you already. Do you look a bit warm now? Was it quite hot out there?
Yeah, it was hot and hectic. There's just so many cars out there. It's difficult to get a clear lap, and every time I was on a good lap, as a guy spun in front of me, and then I, you know, it's just all sorts going on really. So it's difficult to get a nice fast lap in.
Is that the most difficult thing about this qualifying then, just the sheer amount of cars?
Yeah, definitely. It's such a short amount of time, and all you can do is just try to get some space, and then you might have an SR8 come up behind you or something, so you've got to keep in your mirrors as well. It's tough.
How do you think you did time-wise?
Not so well. I haven't looked at the times, but my fastest lap I was on just at the end there. I had a small coming together with somebody, so I had to come in the pits. So.
Okay. Do you know how your teammate's doing?
Not yet. I'm about to go and check now and see how he's getting on. He's just gone out in the car.
Okay. Good luck with the rest of it. Thanks. Well, that's qualifying over for the first day here at Silverstone. Alex Sims qualified in pole and Jonathan Swift was second, followed by Bernardo Pellegrini, who came in third. Now we're going to try and grab a few of the drivers for a chat because they've got both 2 races tomorrow on Sunday. So let's go and see how they felt that qualifying went for them. So congratulations, Alex, you qualified on pole.
Thank you very much.
How did it go?
It's pretty good. It was pretty interesting because there's so much traffic out there with, well, not traffic as such, but the different class of cars. So you come up on the SR3s very quickly. So yeah, it's just about getting a clear lap.
And what would you say was the most difficult thing about this qualifying session?
It was overtaking the slower cars. Normally in GP3, sort of cars within half a second or a second, so you don't really close on them too quickly. But with the different classes, it's all about traffic management.
What's all this, Alex? You impressed?
Just plotting how I'm going to take Alex Sims off at the first corner. And
He was saying that he's going to try and avoid the slower cars, so...
Well, he's in front of me at the moment. No, hopefully we can find a little bit of speed, and we need to. So, but yeah, no, it should be good.
And how did you get on in this qualifying?
It was okay. You know, it was an experience to come back into something with so much downforce from the GT cars I'm in. Car felt good. I just overdrove and then cooked my rear tyres, and that was it. So, you know, relatively, we should have done a 57, but we've still got a bit to find to Alex's speed. So, but we'll get there.
And did you think you've learnt from that now for tomorrow?
Yeah, for sure. It's the first time I've raced an 8 for 5 years. So, so I need to just get my head back into it. And there's no reason why Chris and I are a really close pairing. No reason we can't win one of these races.
Absolutely, and why not? And what do you know what your time was for qualifying?
I think we did low 58. I don't know the exact time, so so not too bad, but could be better.
And where are you in the terms of the grid?
I don't honestly know. The guy said I think we're third, third or second. I don't know. There was a bit of ambiguity. I'm not sure. I think third.
James, you're racing on your own this time, not with your dad Phil. How's that going for you?
It's a bit lonely, to be honest. It's just got to get on with it, you know. It's a longer race, so it's a bit more of a challenge. So looking forward to it.
Does it make the braking qualifying easier because you don't have to have the driver changeover?
Yeah, definitely, because you're up to speed with the car, you can get straight on it. I did notice passing some slower cars just straight away, pretty much.
And how did you end up in terms of position for the grid?
I'm not sure about position. I know we made some improvement on times from yesterday. I had to wait and see for that. We couldn't see the rest of the screen.
Okay, good luck with the rest of it then. We'll speak to you tomorrow for race 1.
Okay, thanks.
It's good to see you again. Last time it was in Abu Dhabi and you weren't actually racing there.
Yeah, I wasn't actually racing there. I'm racing here because in Abu Dhabi we had only 2 cars with the drivers, so the situation here is a little bit better. We should have here 4 cars. At the final there were just 3, but it's a great weekend, great weather. I have to say that the Silverstone is one of the best circuits for the radicals, and it's just fine to be here.
Excellent. And how did you get on in qualifying?
Well, I'm not sure now, but the time was 2 minutes 8 seconds, so we will see. There is still some space for improvement in the race, and I'm not sure that qualifying is so important because if you remember the situation from the last year, so just in the first corner there'll be so many dead cars that we shall see how it will come.
I guess it can all change during race 1, can't it? And I've heard that you're setting up a Eastern European series. Can you tell us a bit more about that?
Yes, this is the first year for Air Cup, which is Central European Series for the radicals. It has the same rules and everything is pretty similar like in Radical Masters. So for the drivers is no change in conditions, and the first race will be in the end of the April in Brno, and then will be races in Poland. It will be Poznań, Most is Czech Republic, and Slovakia, which is brand new circuit in Slovakia, and very nice. So 4 races, 4 weekends.
Okay, so Stuart, you're racing with Marks Electrical this year, and you're also an instructor at Silverstone. So how did qualifying go for you today?
Qualifying went really well, particularly from Mark's point of view. It's pole in his session, and he's very far up the grid, so that's a good starting point for us for tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's a new team as well, isn't it?
It is a new team, yeah. Mark is relatively new to racing. It's only his 2nd season. I'm not quite that new, been around a little bit longer, and as you say, instruct at Silverstone. Sven, who runs the car, has been involved with Radicals for about 10 years, so he knows the cars inside out. And Grant, who also is in the team, has a lot of motorsport background from Le Mans, Formula 3 and so on, so hopefully the team is going to gel well with that sort of experience.
Okay, so could you just talk us through this lap, please?
Okay, here we are starting my first flying lap from qualifying. Hopefully the tyres are coming in now, and First corner cops almost flat out. A little bit of a lift on the entry. We're still waiting for the tyres to come in.
And how long will it take for the tyres to get to the right sort of temperature?
It depends a little bit on the ambient, but today it was about half a lap, so it's a little bit longer than I was expecting into the first flying lap. So now we come through the last part of Beckett's, just dropping down to 5th, and then we take 5th all the way through out onto the Hanger Straight, a little bit of curb on the exit through Chapel, and now we've got the long run down the Hanger Straight towards Stowe.
And what kind of speeds are you doing here?
In the SR3, it's about 135, 136 mile an hour. Compare that to an SR8, they're probably doing another 25, 30 miles an hour.
And how are they on corners?
There's quite a similarity between the two cars. The corner speeds are similar. The SR3 is a little bit more nimble. You can carry a little bit more corner speed by it because it's a little bit lighter weight. And now we're running through Vale and into Club, which will be the last part of the lap when the new pits is open. So we now run on the right hand side. You'll see the new pits being built, and we head up towards Abbey, which is in an SR3 completely flat out. So we hit the apex now. Similar sensation to a Formula 1 car here with the terms of grip and speed as we run now up into the new complex as we arrive at Little John's.
And what are the kind of best areas in the SR3s for overtaking?
Stowe and Vale are very good overtaking opportunities. The new complex we're in at the moment, none of the individual corners make good overtaking opportunities, but the actual sequence means that it's easy to overtake through there. So you see the SR8 of Alex Mortimer just going past us on the left there, so you can see the difference in straight line speed. And now as we get into the final part of the lap, the corner speed is actually very similar, so we stay pretty close until we get back out onto the straight again.
So that's almost the best bit to catch up with other people, I suppose.
It is, yeah. You can certainly drag a lot of time out of the SR3 in the slow corners. As I say, it's very nimble, but of course, as you see, once you get onto the straight, the SR8 accelerates considerably faster.
Timothy, you used to race quite a lot in Formula Ford. Can you tell me about that?
A long time ago, yes. This is the first year I've raced for 28 years, actually.
And are you nervous about it?
No, not at all. Not at all. Very slow these days, but not nervous.
So how did you hear about Radical?
So I was here for a corporate day some years ago, and I was driving all sorts of things, Porsches and Ferraris and whatever. And then I stepped in one of these, and I just thought it was by far the most drivable car I'd ever been in. And 2 or 3 years later, I thought, well, maybe I should tempt myself. And I bought an old one last season and went and did a little bit of testing, and then I got the bug, and so I bought a new one, and here I am racing again.
Wow, and what was it about the Radical driving experience that made you feel like you wanted to do it again?
Well, it's a very easy car to drive. It's not very easy to be as fast as the quick guys, but it's very easy to drive. And it's very, very quick. So, you know, people say, I read somewhere that Martin Donnelly, I think, said that if you want to see what it's like to go in a Formula 1 car, the nearest you're ever going to get is to go in a Radical. And you can take a passenger. So, yeah.
Excellent stuff. And how did qualifying go for you today?
Yes, that's a good question. My co-driver is second fastest amongst the professionals, and I'm somewhere in the pack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which grade of driver are you graded at?
I'm a whatever the lowest grade, a C, I guess.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just getting my license back. I'm getting signatures again because in the days when I had a license, the RAC didn't have computers, and so there's no record of me having raced before. So.
Okay, but we believe you anyway. Okay. And how did you meet your racing co-driver, Anthony Dunn?
Oh, so well, Radical knew I wanted to find a professional driver both to coach me and also to drive with me, and they introduced me to Keith Bisp, who runs the team, and Keith introduced me to Anthony, who's doing a great job. As I say, he was second fastest this morning, so that's pretty encouraging.
And apart from today, have you had much practice out on the track? Like, have you been on the new Silverstone track before?
Yes, I'd like to say no, but I don't have any excuses. I've done quite a lot of testing this winter, actually, trying to find the speed. I seem to remember I used to have... One of my sons a few years ago bought me a T-shirt, and it said, the older I get, the faster I was, and that's proving to be true. So,
so that's qualifying over for the first day here at Silverstone. Qualifying in pole position was Alex Sims. We also had James Swift qualifying second, and third was Bernardo Pellegrini.